Number 17 says 2 times 2m minus 5 minus 6 is greater than negative 36. So we'll start by distributing. We get 4m minus 10 minus 6 greater than negative 36. Combine, get negative 16 is greater than negative 36. Add 16 to each side. 4m is greater than negative 20. Divide by 4. M is greater than negative 5. They also want you to graph the solution. So we have negative 5, negative 4, and negative 6. What kind of circle do you need on negative 5? See, open or closed? Which one? Open circle. If we have these symbols, it's open. If we have these symbols, it's closed. I want m to be greater than negative 5, so do I need to shade where negative 6 is or where negative 4 is? Negative 4. Okay. 18 says 4x minus 5 is less than negative 17, or 5x plus 6 is greater than 31. So we solve each of these independently. Add 5 to each side. 4x is less than negative 12. Divide by 4. X is less than negative 3. Solve the second one. Subtract 6 from each side. 5x is greater than 25. Divide by 5. X is greater than 5. Then you have to graph both of them. So I have negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should make that a little bit longer. And then over here, negative 4. So what kind of circle do we need at negative 3? Open circle. They want you to shade where the x's are smaller than negative 3. So do you shade where negative 4 is, or do you shade where negative 2 is? Negative 4. Okay, what kind of circle on 5? Open circle. And I want to shade where x's are greater than 5. So I'm going to shade here. Now since it said or, it's supposed to be shaded to the outside, and that's what that one is. Number 19 says negative 2 is less than or equal to 2x minus 4 less than 4. This one's going to be an and problem. Okay, when you have two inequalities in the same series, then what you're going to do is you're going to take the part that's in the middle and you're actually going to use it twice. You're going to put the word and between them. So we're going to start by writing our first inequality. It's going to say negative 2 is less than or equal to 2x minus 4. And then I'm going to cover this part up. 2x minus 4 is less than 4. So we have to satisfy both of these inequalities at the very same time. So we start by solving. Add 4 to each side. 2 is less than or equal to 2x. Divide by 2. 1 is less than or equal to x. Any questions so far? Okay. Add 4. 2x is less than 8. Divide by 2. X is less than 4. So on my number line, I need to make sure I include 1 and 4. What kind of circle will I need at 1? Open or closed? Closed circle. Shading where x is greater than 1. So do I shade where x is 0 or where x is 2? Which one's bigger than 1? 0 or 2? 2. We shade them over here. What kind of circle do I need at 4? Open circle. Let me do that in green. Pink's not showing up. Open circle and shade where x is less than. So it's this way. Now, the answer here is where it's double shaded. So the actual answer is going to be from 1 to 4, right in there. Okay? Because it has to be covered by both shadings at the same time. And that's the part that's covered by both. Okay, number 20 says, if a dart hits the target at random, what is the probability that it will land in the shaded region? So I need the area of the shaded region over the total area. How do you find the area of a circle? Pi r squared. So the radius of the shaded region is 3. So it's pi times 3 squared. And the radius of the whole thing is it's 12. So it's pi times 12 squared. So we have 9 pi over 144 pi. Will 9 and 144 simplify? Yes. What will go into both of them? I think 9 will. Will 9 go into 144? How many times? Okay. What about having a pi in the top and a pi in the bottom? What's pi over pi? If you have the same thing over the same thing, what's its value? 1. So I can simplify by 9 pi, and I'm going to get 1 in the top and 16 in the bottom. So the probability that you throw a dart and it lands in the shaded region is 1/16. So if you threw a dart 16 times, we're expecting one of those to land in the shaded region. 21 says f of x is equal to 4x minus 2, and g of x is equal to negative 2x plus 1. Find f of 5 over g of negative 3. So in the f equation, I'm going to use 5. So I'm going to have 4 times 5 minus 2. In the g equation, I'm going to use negative 3. So it's going to be negative 2 times negative 3 plus 1. What's 4 times 5? 20. So I have 20 minus 2 over 6 plus 1. So that's going to be 18 over 7. If you simplify that, 7 goes into 18 2 times with 4 left over. So 2 and 4/7. 22 says find the slope. The formula for slope is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. The main thing you have to be careful about is labeling your points. And then you just plug them in. Y sub 2 is negative 2. And y sub 1 is 12. X sub 2 is negative 6. And x sub 1 is 6. So I have negative 14 over negative 12, which is actually 7 over 6. Questions on slope. 23. Write in standard form What is standard form? It's ax plus by equals c. Write it in standard form if it has a slope of -8 and it goes through the point -2, -2. Well, step 1 is to use point slope form. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. So we're going to put our slope and our point into point slope form, then we're going to rearrange it so that it's in standard form. Remember, the only parts that actually get replaced by numbers are x sub 1, y sub 1, and m. So this is y minus -2 equals m times x minus -2. Then you need to distribute. Y plus 2 equals -8x minus 16. I would move the 2. Y equals -8x minus 18. At that point, you are in slope-intercept form. Okay? We don't want slope-intercept form. We want standard form. So we're going to move this 8x over. So we're going to add 8x. And it's going to say 8x plus y is -18. That is standard form. Circle this and make a note that this is y-intercept, slope-intercept form. Questions on 23? Everybody caught up with me? Find the point slope form. So we want this one to end up in point slope. And they give me 2 points. So what's the very first thing I need to find? What's the first thing I need to find?
I think Miss Dawson's putting with that board.
First thing you need to find is the slope, right? How do you find the slope? Okay, so here's my formula. -5 minus -4, that and that, 2 minus -6. So I get -1 over 8. That's my slope. You've already labeled x sub 1 and y sub 1. So you're going to use this value and this value and this value to put it into that equation. So it's y minus -4 equals m times x minus -6. So this is your answer to number 24. 25. Y equals 1/2 x minus 4. No, that's got a negative on it. What is the slope of this line? -1/2. That's all they're asking you to do in that problem. (26) They give you the equation and they want you to find the slope in that problem too. It's not obvious because it's not in y equals form, so we need to do that. So 5y is -3x plus 15. Divide 3 by 5. Y is negative 3/5 x plus 3. So what is your slope here? Negative 3/5. 27. Find an equation for the line that goes through the point 2, 6 and is perpendicular to y equals negative 5/4 x plus 1. So they're giving me a point. I need to come up with the slope for my new line. What is the new slope? Perpendicular lines have what kind of slope? Flip and opposite slope. Well, what's the slope of the original line, Lexi? So when you flip it and take the opposite, what will you have? Well, you got to take the opposite, 4/5. So this is my x sub 1, this is my y sub 1. So I have this formula. Y minus 6 equals 4/5 times x minus 2. This is your answer. Now what if I wanted that to be in slope-intercept form? What would you have to do to arrange that to be in slope-intercept form? You'd have to distribute, so you get y minus 6 equals 4/5 x minus, what's going to happen when you multiply 4/5 times 2? It's kind of like having 2/1. And you multiply the numerators and you multiply the denominators, so you get 8/5. And then you need to add 6 to both sides. So I get y equals 4/5 x. Now I've got negative 8/5 plus 6. Can you write 6 as a fraction that has 5 as a denominator? 30 would be your numerator. So when you combine these, what do we get? What's negative 8 plus 30? 22/5. So this is my final answer in slope-intercept form. Any questions on that? Okay, let's look at 28. 28 says it's going to go through negative 4, 6 and is parallel to y equals negative 3x plus 4. So what is your new slope? Tell me about parallel lines. What kind of slope do parallel lines have? The same. So the new slope's the same as the old slope. It's negative 3. And that's x sub 1 and that's y sub 1. So here we go. Y minus 6 equals negative 3 times x minus negative 4. So that's your answer in point slope form. What if you needed to put it in y-intercept form? What would you need to do? Distribute. So y minus 6 equals negative 3x minus 12, and then add 6. And this time I don't have any fractions to worry about. So I get a nice answer. 29 says graph 4x minus 2y is less than negative 3. To graph this, you're going to need to put that inequality in y equals form. You're going to need to rearrange that inequality so that it says y equals, and you're going to use slope and y-intercept to graph. So what's the first thing I need to do to the equation? to subtract 4x from each side. So this says negative 2y is less than negative 4x minus 3. What do you do next? Divide everything by negative 2. When you divide inequalities by negative numbers, you have to turn the direction around. Okay, so this is my inequality. Y is greater than 2x plus 3 over 2. So when I go to graph this, what is my y-intercept? What's my y-intercept here? 3 over 2. So that's really 1.5. So I'll put my dot right here. Now my slope is 2 over 1. So I need to, from that dot, go up 2 and over 1. I wasn't on a good corner when I started, and when I move up 2 complete units and over 1 complete unit, I'm still not going to be on a good corner. I'm going to be in between. Now, when you're graphing inequalities, there's two kinds of lines. It's either a dotted line or a solid line. And it follows the same rule. If it's this, it's dotted, and if it's this, it's solid. So which do we need here? Dotted line. Well, since it's an inequality, you're going to have to do some shading. You're either going to shade above the line or you're going to shade below the line. And the easiest thing to do is to use a test point, and the easiest test point is 0, 0. So I'm going to test 0, 0. I'm going to put 0 in place of y, and this 0 in place of x. And we'll see if that's true or false. Is 0 greater than 3 over 2? Is that true or false? That's false. 0, 0 was down here on the bottom, and I got a false answer. So that is not the part of the graph that you shade. You shade the top. Okay? Everybody with me there? Can you put this in your calculator? If you have the inequals app? Yes, you can. Number 30. Y is greater than or equal to absolute value of x plus 3 minus 2. Let's do this one in our calculator. Turn your calculator on and go to y equals and clear anything out that's in there. Go to apps and go down and see if you can find inequals. Hit enter. Does everybody's calculator have inequals in it? Some of them do, some of them don't. If not, grab one that does. The first thing we need to do is put the right inequality symbol in there, and it's greater than or equal to. So I'm going to press second. No, that's not the right button. What am I supposed to press? Alpha. Alpha and the far button, and that's going to put the right symbol in there. How do I get the absolute value bars in the equation? Where do you go to find the absolute value bars in the calculator? Alpha window 1? Okay. I always go second catalog. It gives me everything in the calculator in alphabetical order, and absolute value happens to be the first thing, so it throws it right in there. Some of your calculators will actually put the bars. This one's going to put the abbreviation ABS. So then we're going to type x plus 3, close parentheses, because we want the minus 2 to be outside the absolute value part. Be sure you're subtracting 2, not using the negative button. And then graph. If your graph doesn't look like mine, hit zoom 6. That'll take it back to the standard window. Okay? So can we graph this one? Can you choose the right graph? Okay, do you have any questions on the first 30 problems?